It takes hours, it's boring, and you don't immediately see the results of your effort. Yes, I'm talking about studying, but it does not always have to be tedious and hard. You can imagine yourself doing hundreds of different things instead of sitting down and concentrating on stuff which is not even always interesting. This does not need to be reality because studying is a process that can be made more enjoyable with just small adjustments of the way how you think about it and your mindset shifts. In this video, I'm going to share my secret with you, how I made the whole process of studying enjoyable. Hi, my name is Sofia and I'm happy that you clicked on this video to learn something new. Well, when I tell you that you have to sit down right now and study, you're not going to be very happy about it. And the very first reason is the friction you have to overcome to sit down and actually starting learning the content. The reason for this is that you've got so many resources available. You've got your textbook, your notebook, your PowerPoint, past paper questions. That when you sit down and say, okay, I'm going to study this, there are so many things you can go through and so many possible ways how you can structure your studying that the friction behind taking everything out, organizing it, and getting into the flow of it takes a long time. So that's one of the first things which can discourage us to enjoy it and make it nice, enjoyable process. Solution is simple. You just have to get everything ready before you actually start studying. And the process is going to be very easy because you will have everything ready. You immediately can dive into a specific topic. Whereas if you don't plan, if you don't organize your stuff, you sit down, take everything out, you just open the first thing and you just study it. You don't even know whether you are studying the thing you need to study. When you organize things, you will minimize the number of textbooks and notebooks you have around, so you are not distracted by hundreds of materials, but you can focus on the one that's most important for you. The next thing that makes my studying process enjoyable is visualization. And this technique is something I came up with and it really helps me to get through the topics. This technique is about visualizing your end outcome of your revision session. So you start your revision session with a purpose already in your mind, which means, for example, there is a topic in economics I want to learn today. Let's say monetary policy. So my whole revision session will be focused on studying monetary policy, causes, consequences, examples, which means I will know what I want to know at the end of my revision. I'm not distracted by fiscal policy, by exchange rates or anything else. I'm focused on one specific thing. Therefore, my revision is targeted. Every time I sit down to revise, I have an end goal in front of me, which is different for different types of revision. It's different when you want to just pre-read for your next lesson, or you want to revisit the material after a couple of weeks, or you're doing your revision for finals, as I'm doing right now. Big picture first makes the whole process very enjoyable because you're not focusing on those small details that make the whole topic overwhelming, but rather on the big picture that shows you everything about a topic in very easy way. You can watch revision video where you just search into YouTube the topic you want to revise. For example, I struggled a lot with ultrastructure of plant cell, so I just searched into YouTube ultrastructure of plant cell. It will search you tons of videos you can watch to get the overall idea of how things work, and when you understand the whole process, the big picture, you can zoom in and focus on those small details. Well, if you take your textbook and read the text as it goes, you will not see the big concepts and ideas behind it. The important information are mixed with small details. You do not need to understand the topic first. So when you can watch a video or find an article or find other way to get the idea about the topic, whereas if you just read a textbook, try to memorize everything as it is, it's not going to help you understand. And that's the whole process of studying, that you have to understand first before you can actually learn it. If it's a subject you enjoy and you want to start with details, then go for it. But if it's a subject you don't especially like and you would rather not study at all and you want to find a way how to make it enjoyable, then start with overall picture and then work it down towards details. The whole process of studying comprises of three things and you cannot change the order of these three things, otherwise your studying will not make much sense. And the thing is, firstly you have to understand, secondly you have to learn it, and then you have to practice. You cannot skip any of these steps and you cannot change them around, otherwise your studying will not end up very well. And the reason for this is very easy. When you understand a topic, you get your hand around it, which can take a couple of weeks. It does not have to be after the lesson. Your teacher explains you something, you don't have to necessarily understand it at that moment. You have to revisit the topic, and as you do that, you will understand it eventually. So don't worry about it if you don't understand everything from the very first moment. So that's the first step, that you understand it. Secondly, is learning. This is the process, part of the process which you cannot skip. You cannot understand something and then immediately go and practice with past paper questions or anything similar. But you cannot immediately skip to the practice part without learning it. And that is definitely not an easy part. Learning is difficult. When your revision is easy, it means you are not using your brain as much as you could, which means that when learning is difficult, it's nothing you should be anxious, because we all have to go through the same process, and when you use the right techniques, it's possible to enjoy it. And as I said, practice papers, and the last part of this 3-step process, the practice is very important, because you can understand the topic, you can learn the topic, but when you don't apply your knowledge to the real questions that were used last year, years before, you have no way to test whether you really understood it. Some people do that, they do not understand, they do not learn it, but they go straight to practicing, which is very ineffective because there is no way you will answer it correctly. Very important thing when it comes to enjoying the process of studying is starting early. It's as simple as that. But when you've got an exam in 5 months, you have a lot of time to revise all your topics. So you can be relaxed and chilled and find methods that work for you and enjoy it as you go along. Whereas if you have 2 days to your exam, you have not done anything the whole year, and now you want to cram the whole 2 years of content, then of course your studying is not going to be enjoyable, as it is something you are keeping for last minute, and you don't have a chance to learn everything in 2 days. We are not machines. The important thing is therefore start in advance. Make a plan and prospective or retrospective revision timetables. Then you will have set amount of time, you will be chilled, relaxed. The whole process is going to be easy. You will feel very good about your revision. Therefore, set aside a long amount of time before your actual deadline is to make it as enjoyable as possible. It's going to be much more easier with a lot of time. Whereas if you leave things for last minute, there is no way that studying is going to be an enjoyable process. If at least one of these things made you feel like studying can be made more enjoyable process, then I'm very happy. And let me know in the comments, would you find personally the most difficult thing about studying? If you are interested in some last minute advice for your exams, you can watch the video I made last time. I will give you a card up here. Don't worry about the process, enjoy it, and don't forget that it's always journey before destination, as Brandon Sanderson says. You can do it, everyone can do it. See you next time. Bye bye.